So, welcome to this show. I'm going to present something about how to improve and make efficient the installation process of solar racking system. So, if you look at the figures of the cost breakdown for fixed tilt installation, steel and just focusing on the steel and the installation, you see that around 10% of the cost of a 10 megawatt so utility scale project is labor and equipment for installation. Compare a structural BOS, so the steel, it's about 8.5%. So that means that you can see that the cost of installation is much more than what is the steel that you use during your installation. For example, for 1 megawatt, those are averages figures. You need $100,000 of installation costs against $80,000 of hardware. So if you understand these figures, it is very interesting to see that if you can improve the installation cost, you can reduce your overall cost of a solar installation. So how? The question is what to do in order to improve the installation effectiveness. The most interesting way is when you design the product to use what is called design for assembly process, which means that you design every single part of the hardware in order to make it the most effective when you do the installation. So this is the key on how, for example, our company has developed their product in order to make the installation cost the most cheapest possible. Because the hardware is very easy. It's something that you do in the workshop, and you take on the field, and you don't have issues on that because you know exactly what is happening on the field. If someone of you knows how it works, you can have rain, you can have snow, you can have problems, whatever, all the things that normally are not all simple to be find out before you get the installation. So the shorter the installation time is, the better it is. So that is the goal of design for assembly when you decide to use this kind of approach. So what means design for assembly? The principle are certain numbers, so you need to minimize the part count. The less, the better. And another important feature is to when you have to assemble the parts, that you always know exactly where the parts have to go to connect one to the other. Another is also that those parts are fastening, so that you don't need to spend a lot of time in order to use tools in order to fasten the parts. Also the problem of orientation, up, down. So if you design the parts that are symmetrical, it's easier, because then you don't have the question, oh, it's the wrong way, I have to turn it. And normally, have every one of you ever mounted an IKEA product? You know exactly what I mean. So you have finished and you say, I have to dismount the whole thing because I just put other ways a specific part. If you avoid that, then you gain time. So also the retrieval, handling and insertion of parts, so using colors, using indication where to put exactly the part in order to reduce the time of installation. That you do it top down, so you start from somewhere and then you go in one direction by the mounting. Of course, for a solar field, you go bottom up, you put the poles first, and then you mount the parts one after the other. Try to use standard parts in order to use the minimum use of fastener. In order also, if you get to bolts and nuts, try to use one side for everything. It's cheaper to have over-dimensioned bolts and nuts, against the fact to have more than one side, because you just have one tool in your pocket and that's good for all. And modular design, you put it, if you build and design in modular way your product, you can then simply scale up the product without having any issue of that comes first and that comes after. No, it's all the same. So it's in order also to know exactly where to go with the parts, you also put them a base part where you assemble the other ones. It's like in our product, there are some components that are in this way done. And also, as we told before, the symmetry of insertion, that it's like the USB Type-C plug compared to what it was in the past. Now, it didn't matter which side you put it, it always gets in. Huh? There is a Japanese name for that kind of approach, which is pokayoke, means I can do it also if I'm dumb. It's a dumb-proof kind of project in order that whoever is doing that kind of assembly is able to do it. So, what could be the benefits? If you see, we were saying that 10 cent US dollar per 10 cent of US dollar per watt for the installation cost and 0.8, you could have an increase because you're using more specific hardware, but with a big benefit in reduction of the mounting time, and so the cost of the mounting of the equipment. Which means that in front of a 12% of increase of the cost of the hardware, let's say at an equal raw material cost, of course, without considering what is happening right at the moment. But let's go back 2 years ago when it was stable. With a little increase of the cost of the hardware, you can have a huge benefit in terms of installing. Also because the cost of installation, it depends also on the location. There are cheaper countries and more expensive countries. So if you have especially in the Western world, you need to reduce as much as possible the labor cost, which is the mounting part, which is low labor intensive, and so you can have an overall result of 70% of the reduction of the overall cost of the project, and also a reduction of the lead time. So the time that you need when you are on field to mount and install your project. So I'm pretty done. So any question, I'm happy to answer to you. Your mic.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Give him please a big applause. It was a great job. Are there any questions so far from you guys? Is there anyone who want to raise a question? Don't be so shy. Come on. No question? Good. I have some questions.
Oh, thank you.
What kind of PV panels is your solution compatible with?
So for our company, who has developed one of those products with this approach, we are able to handle all the kind of panel up to the Intersolar Series 6 and Series 6 Plus panel, which are the very big one, which is the tendency on the market to go on the bigger one because they're more efficient and I would say per watt cheaper at the end. So that kind of system can help to handle all kind of panel, also the solar cell.
Cool. And what are your focus regions so far right now where you want to place your product?
So our company is, we have a presence here in Europe, in Italy, and we are able, where we follow the EMEA market, so Europe, Middle East and Africa. But our company also have offices in the US, so we reach the American market, and also in the Far East, where we have in China and in Malaysia offices, and Australia. So
great international company so far. Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and finally, where can I find you over the next days if I have an additional question?
Just over here.
Excellent. Cool.
thank you so much, and Andreas. Thank you to the audience to being here, and hope to see you over there for some more question and answers.
Excellent. Cool.